songs with us today. The first one is called Shine, and it was written, I don't know, several years back. Did anybody go see the Dalai Lama in New Orleans? Is anybody there?
I saw it in Atlanta.
Well, it's probably the same tour, but it was just a really amazing experience to me. There were 9,999 other people in the space, and he touched every individual. His words were, there was silence. People were just, he's an amazing soul. On the way home, my friend Beth and I, we drove the coast as far as you can drive, just before Mobile, and we saw these sculptures of dead trees that the artist did all the way down the coast. And I kept telling him, he's like, there are words in this day. It was an amazing experience. He's like, okay, Rick, whatever. But then the next day, these words, it's called Shine, came to me. And I hope you enjoy it. With this life, all can shine. Open your heart and soon will find love and compassion can be yours. The peace inside is here right now. We can be it all is free touch. The light is your right. We all are this shining light to give to all. Is this flight? Live to love and love to live. It is our time and we must give. Can be it all is free touch. The light is your right.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Laura Keith King, and my pronouns are she and her. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Pensacola. I see several new faces today, which is always a great joy to me. We welcome you whether you are here for the first time or the 599th time. I hope you enjoyed our very unusual setup in the front lobby. If you didn't notice the signs, today is the cleanup day from our annual yard sale, which we haven't done in many years because of COVID. And anything that you see out there, you can take home for free. The rest of it, we hope you will stay and help to box it all up. And we'll have a more full announcement about that later. Okay, now I've got a whole long list of announcements. Everyone is invited to attend the Celebration of Life next Saturday to celebrate the life of Rob Palme, one of our most long-standing and valued members. It will be at 1 o'clock on Saturday. This coming Saturday, and this is Rob. If you didn't know him well, but this is a picture of him. We are also looking for volunteers to serve as greeters, and I think we could use some help with the refreshments as well. We're having Rob's daughter Astrid is having it catered, but we're serving all the beverages, and we'll need to set up and clean up. So please see me if you're available to do that. And now let's have our yard sale people come up and do their announcement. Yay for our yard sale volunteers.
Also coming up is Georgiana, and we represent 2/3 of yard sale. The third key member, Linda Cobb, is busy doing yard sale stuff right now, even as we speak. But as Laura mentioned, we had on Friday and Saturday of this week a yard sale open to the public. The things that did not sell, many of which are very lovely, are still out there. What happens to things that are not sold are picked up by one of our local charities like Team Thrift, and they take it to their thrift store. But to minimize that and to help our own community, if there's anything that you see out there that you could use, take it, it's free. So that is, quite frankly, less burden on the volunteers, hint, volunteers for today, to help box up what is left so that when the truck comes tomorrow, things can be put on the truck in boxes, and tables folded up and put away. Georgiana, do you have something you want to add?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say that this is something new that we're trying, and so of course we'd like your feedback on it. Usually we try to have the truck come on Saturday and box everything, and we have the church somewhat pristine on Sunday. So, but we wanted to make the items available to our congregation because, of course, we had many generous donations. We don't have a final figure yet, but it is very good. I will tell you that. I will also tell you that Linda told me this morning that we had 41 different volunteers during the 6-day period that we started last Sunday. And I'd have to go back and check my records, but I believe the highest number we had was in the mid-30s. So that is excellent given that our congregation has shrunk, so that we really are appreciative. And the other thing is they didn't just come for an hour, they came for several hours. So a lot of people you may see maybe dragging today, but it was all done in good spirit for our church. And we just want to let you know how much we appreciate the donations and how much we appreciate the volunteers. Thank you.
So, next Sunday, is it next Sunday, the trunk or treat? Is that next Sunday already? Time flies. October 30th, it's a Sunday, at noon after church. We're having a trunk or treat. This is the first year we've done it. I think it should be a lot of fun. And we have a sign-up sheet out on the credenza. So if you can decorate your trunk, donate treats for a cake walk, or door prizes, please sign up. And if you have any questions, contact Chris. We're going to need cakes. Yeah. Chris is over there. She waved her hand. Did you see her? There she is. Also, on the very same day, we are having a blood drive, thanks to Penny Featherstone, who organized that. This is a little flyer for that in case you need a reminder. It's on Sunday, the same day, next Sunday. And we do need sign-ups, because if we don't have a solid 10 people, it's not worth their while to come. You can sign up for a specific time. So
And I'll
please.
walk around after service
Oh, good.
to get signatures.
Good, good. If you sign up in the middle of the service, that means we won't see you at church, but okay. Let's see. Please remember, Manna Food Sunday is next Sunday, so bring your food donations to help feed those who are not as fortunate as those of us who have trouble keeping our weight down. Okay. Next Sunday is also the 5th Sunday. And if you know our church, you know that on the 5th Sunday, those months of the year that have a 5th Sunday, we do a Pass the Plate service. Kaylee Williams, who is the executive director of Just Pensacola, will be speaking about Just Pensacola, this ongoing organization striving for justice in our community. Ms. Williams is the Just Pensacola lead organizer. Our church is a proud sponsor and active participant with other congregations in this endeavor. It's an awesome collaboration of a lot of churches who come together to really put pressure on our elected and appointed officials to provide more justice. Ms. Williams will update us on the progress made and the current focus for this year. On the following Sunday, November 6th, we will be celebrating All Souls, All Saints Day. Please bring your photos and pictures of the people you want to honor that have passed on and you want to remember at this time. We will be honoring members who have passed on since 2019, since we were unable to celebrate them together over the past 2 years. All right. Next, we have the chalice lighting. This reading is written by Viola Abbott, a minister at the Coastal Virginia Unitarian Universalists in Virginia Beach. As we light the chalice and fully embrace the sacred space created here this morning, please hold in your hearts the Unitarian Universalist principle, which calls upon us to respect the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Today we remember those who share this earth with us no longer. We bear witness to their lives and the roles they have played in ours. We pay homage to and make stronger that web which connects us. Now we're going to have some more centering music from Rick Kindle.
The next piece that I'm going to share is called Intention. It is why we do what we do is as important as what we're doing. And that's kind of the thing, so I have to get this set just right so it works. Okay, so here's Intention. It's an instrument.
Thank you, Rick. That was beautiful. And now we are going to do our opening words, and they are a responsive reading, so you'll need your hymnal. It is number 439. That's 439 in the back of your book. We gather in reverence before the wonder of life, the wonder of this moment, the wonder of being together, so close and yet so apart. Each hidden in our own secret chamber. Each listening, each trying to speak. Yet none fully understanding, none fully understood. We gather in reverence before all intangible things, that eyes see not, nor ears detect. That hands can never touch, that space cannot hold, and time cannot measure. Thank you. And now, if you would like to stand, if you are willing and able, we're going to sing along to the video of a song that's in one of our hymnals, the one we're just about to buy a whole bunch of, so we actually have them in our hands, but the words will be on the screen. It's We Are by Issei Barnwell.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, the morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's friends, and we are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are
Please remain standing. We are going to recite the covenant of our church. Love is the spirit of this church and service its law. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And you may be seated. Next is our time for all ages, all ages. And this is a lovely children's book that I found at the library. And I'm going to also put in a plug for everybody's library. They're great. Make sure you're familiar with it. It's called Also, and it's by E.B. Goodale. And she wrote it very much from her own experience. And I chose this because with Paula talking about leaving a living will and an ethical will, what we leave behind when we go, whether we just leave the area or leave this realm of existence, what we have given to this world stays with us. And I know this because the little old lady next door taught me how to tell one flower from another in my front yard and how to pull the weeds. And she taught me how to sew, how to thread a needle. And every time I sew with my granddaughter, I think of her. I think of Mrs. Gould. She was a terrifyingly old lady when I first met her. I thought, she must be a witch, you know, she's so old. Sort of like how old I am now. So this is called Also. Today I am at my grandma's house, high on the hill amongst the blueberry bushes. And also, I am remembering camping with Mama, wandering away from our tent. All was quiet, except for a rustling in the trees. Today, my grandma is at the kitchen sink watching me from the window. She is remembering being a little girl in her mother's garden. Surprised by a bunny in the bush, she spent the rest of the afternoon in wet shoes. Today, my mama is walking down the hill, coming to find me. And also, she is remembering sorting blueberries in the breakfast nook of her mama's kitchen. Her sister was making her giggle. Can you see? Her sister has all the blueberries in her blue smile. Today, Grandma's cat Nutmeg is next to me rolling in the grass. And also, she is remembering being tiny and hungry, worrying about her next meal, until a hand reached down to rescue her. Now, many years have passed, and I am sitting at my desk, writing this book, and also, I am remembering being a little girl at my grandma's house, high on the hill amongst the blueberry bushes, with Grandma at the window, with Mama coming to find me, and Nutmeg by my side. We are all there, and also there. Always. And now is the time in our service where we sing the children out. There is a program for young children and teens. And so we will sing them out, and they're going to go with Tabitha, who's back there. There she is. Go now in peace. Go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. So we've come to our offering, and while we do our offering, Rick is going to come up and play for us again. We are going to have some people walking around with baskets, and please keep in mind that our church is supported solely from fundraisers like dinners and auctions and yard sales and our collection plate. And put any joys and sorrows you might have in the basket. Well, it looks like we don't have any joys or sorrows from the congregation today. I have a sorrow to share, and it's not a personal sorrow, but I heard on NPR this morning that Haiti is absolutely falling apart to the point that the UN is considering what they might do to bring some peace and food and lack of violence to that country. And we will light another candle. Joe?
I didn't write anything down, but I'll share. My dad just got back from New York and got the start of a new treatment for his cancer. Actinium, I believe, is the radioactive isotope
Oh, that's
he's
good.
being treated with, and we're hopeful that this will be helpful.
So for those who couldn't hear that, Joe's dad just got back from having a new, very new treatment, actinium for his cancer, and they're very hopeful that this will be great. So that's good news. And we'll light one more candle for those joys and sorrows we hold in our hearts that we don't share out loud. Now I have the very special privilege of introducing Dr. Paula Montgomery, who is talking to us about ethical wills. And she is a very valued and long-standing member of this church, a retired doctor. And she's also very active politically and socially. She is on our Social Justice Committee and very active with the League of Women Voters. And so please help me welcome Paula.
Children, come here. I want all my children close to me. I want my children and their children and my children's children. Come close. Good. Now I can see all the faces that I love. Even though my eyes are dim, I can behold you all. Now, I want you to listen. Listen carefully. My voice is not as strong as it used to be. I have much of value to tell you. and not much time. Please hear my words. I want to tell you what I have learned in my very, very long life. What I learned to do with the lessons that I picked up on the path that I walked, where I found happiness and where I found grief. But first I need to tell you that the depth and the length and the height of my gratitude to you and my love for you is not limited. It is totally limitless. And finally, I want to tell you my hopes and my dreams for your lives that you choose as you walk the path. What you've just heard is the outline of one type of ethical will. They have been in existence for thousands of years. This type is called the deathbed blessing. They are mentioned several times in the biblical stories that I heard when I was a child. There are many other types of ethical wills written on different occasions in people's lives. For example, when a new child is born, sometimes a relative will write a special letter wishing that child a prosperous and happy life, and also in gratitude for the mother and all sorts of things. Anyway, that's a different kind of ethical will. And sometimes there is another milestone reached, maybe a birthday, a change of job, moving from town to town. Any significant milestone might be a good time to write an ethical will. An ethical will is actually a vehicle to define and pass on what is essential in our life's lessons, our values, our dreams, our hopes, and the future. And we write these with love and forgiveness. Are you familiar with the book, The Little Prince? I think most of us are. Do you remember the lesson of the fox? I'll tell you what it is. It is only with the heart that you can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. An ethical will talks about what is essential. Now, a legal will, or a last will and testament, bequeaths your possessions, your valuables. An ethical will bequeaths your values, what is essential. Now, it may be a deathbed blessing like the one I mentioned, or it may be, for example, in the Bible, Moses went up on the side of the mountain when he knew that he could not reach the promised land with the children of Israel. And he reached out to the children and gave them his blessing and his hopes and dreams for their lives in the promised land. Or it may be Jesus' goodbye to his disciples when he knew that he would be dying soon. So I'm going to read you that particular one. I have said these things to you that your joy may be complete. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. No greater love than this, to lay down his life for his friends. You are my friends, if you do what I command you. I'm giving you these commands so that you may love one another. So you see the tradition is very, very old. Notice that these biblical words were orally remembered and cherished long before they were ever written down. The words were so precious that they were repeated among themselves, among the people, and they were remembered. Today we have the luxury of pen and ink or a computer in which you can pull up another blank sheet and start something. But words are still cherished. Some of you may have in your possession an ethical will written by a friend or relative at a critical life juncture. You just did not call it an ethical will. You probably called it a letter. The milestone might be a birth or a death. It might be a marriage, it might be a divorce. Moving to a new job, to a new school, to a new town. It might be a letter from an elderly father or uncle with meaningful stories of their lives and the family history. So it might also be a letter expressing love and gratitude for a life partner. It does not have to be written on a deathbed. Some of the most poignant ones, however, are, and they are precious by being pushed with the pressure of too little time and so much to express. I want to read you a particularly beautiful one written by a young woman in her 20s. She took the time to reflect on the past and the present and look into what the future might hold. Bettina Brickell was 29 years old when she died. This letter to her family and friends was read at her memorial service. Dear friends and loved ones, as I contemplated this memorial service, I felt great gratitude in my heart that each of you would be here with me to say goodbye. Many of you have shared your warmth, kindness, and love with me during these last months. I want to say thank you. I want to say goodbye. And I want to share with you the lessons I've learned through my dying. I have profoundly experienced that love is all that matters. Like many people, I occasionally get caught up in my pettiness and my separation, thinking I knew the right answer. I judged others, and I have judged myself even more harshly. But I have learned that we carry within ourselves the abundant wisdom and love to heal our weary hearts and judgmental minds. During the time of my illness, I have loved more deeply. My heart feels as if it has exploded. I do not carry anger. I feel we're all doing the best we can. Judging others closes the heart, and when one is dying, that is a waste of precious sharing. Life is how we stand in relationship to both ourselves and to others. Loving and helping each other are all that is important. We are in the fall season. I feel privileged to die as the leaves fall from the trees. There's a naturalness to the cycle of life and death, and for whatever reason, it is my time to die. Even though I am young, it's okay. It is right and natural. Life is not about how long we live, but how we live. And I have had a good life. I accept my dying as part of the wondrous process of life. My sadness in leaving you is that I will miss the deep comfort and love of gently waking up in my husband Peter's arms, and also giving up our dreams of future years together. I'll miss the sunny days fishing with my dad and sharing with my mom her love of life and her cosmopolitan savoir-faire. I'll miss giggling with my sister Maria over life's impasses. How appreciative I feel when I think of my brother Michael's faith and encouragement. As I lie dying, I think of all of you, each special in your own way that I have loved and shared this life with. I reluctantly give up walking on this beautiful planet where every step is a prayer. The glistening sun on the trees, the sound of a brook as it makes its way down the mountain, the serenity and beauty of a gentle snowfall, sitting on the rim of the Utah Canyon and catching a glimpse of eternity. These are things I have loved. Please do not think I have lost a battle with cancer, for I have won the challenge of life. I have shared unconditional love. I have been open to the mystery of spirit, and I feel divinity is all around us every day, provides us with a path on which our spirit may take flight. Chief Crazy Horse, upon his final battle, said, "It is a good day to die because all the things of my life are present." That's how I feel as I think of the abundance, adventure, opportunity, and love in my life. When you think of me, know that my spirit has taken flight and that I loved you. Bettina. That one is particularly beautiful. It was written by a young woman. It's so well written, but each of us has much to share. The use of language is less important than the sharing. Watch me fall over. Your ethical will is the legacy you want to leave. It's an expression of the lessons you've learned and the things you didn't have a chance to say, or maybe things that you want to say again so they will be remembered and heard. The value in them is immeasurable to the person who gets the message. These letters are some of life's most treasured documents. When you read them, you can hear the voice of the person who wrote them. And the gift to the writer is the clarity that comes from putting down on paper just what your values are. There are a number of reasons for writing an ethical will, and not all of them will apply to you. Or you may have another reason altogether. But from this book, written by Barry Baines, MD, who was at a conference I went to, he has listed in the book some of the reasons why people might want to write an ethical will. He says, creating an ethical will is a way to learn about myself. It's a way to reflect on my life and affirm myself. It's a way to affirm what others mean to me, to articulate what I stand for, to tell stories that illustrate my values, to tell stories for perpetuity. An ethical will is a forum in which to fill in knowledge gaps of the recipients by providing historic or ancestral information that links our generations. It's a way to convey feelings, thoughts, and truths that are hard to say face to face. And it's a way to express regrets and apologies, opening the door to forgiving and being forgiven. And finally, it's a way to come to terms with my own mortality. So, be thinking about what's important to you and why you would want to write an ethical will. And I'm going to read you another ethical will, and you'll see what I mean about the personality of the person who is writing the will. This one is by a 50-year-old man, and as he wrote it, it's a list. He has numbered the lines, and when he came to something that broke down into separate sections, he put like number 14, A, B, C. Very methodical. Michael Greenspan authored the following introduction and ethical will. And this starts his words. Having disposed of my property through duly executed documents, I now turn to the harder job of leaving to my children, Lisa and David, a set of principles that they should consider in living their own lives and in helping to shape the lives of their children. Number 1, do the right thing as often as you can. Number 2, only worry about those things you can do something about. Number 3, try as hard as you can, and having done so, don't look back if things don't work out. Number 4, work hard, but stop before you mindlessly begin to work to ask whether you have found the most efficient thing to work hard at. Okay? Number 5, you are not the center of the universe. If it takes religion to make you realize that, then embrace religion. Happiness is not what feels good at the moment. You also have to consider the long-term consequences of your actions. Be positive. Try to find the best in a bad situation. Be interested in a lot of things, because people who are interested are interesting. Show everyone that you love him or her, and also tell him or her. Divide the world into two groups, those who are trying to hurt you and those who are not. Fight the first group as hard as you can, and cut the second group about as much slack as you can. There you go. All right. In making decisions, tend toward those that maximize your options. Procrastinating over a decision until it is no decision is itself a decision. The best trait in a friend, coworker, or yourself is dependability. The second is loyalty. 14. If you find a good, true friend, hold on to him or her as hard as you can. Number 15. Ask not what people do, but how well they do it. 16. Be fruitful and multiply. He's telling his children now. 17. And 3 things I have heard before but really like. A, when things are going really wrong, remember that which doesn't kill you makes you stronger. B, love like you've never been hurt before. And C, dance like no one's watching. So you see what I mean about the different personalities that come through. You can almost hear these people talking. Okay. And you need to be thinking about what's important to you. And the form doesn't matter. And if you decide to change something, that's okay too. It's your ethical will. There are no rules, but there are some suggestions for getting started. And the first one is decide to get started. And then when you think about how you're going to say it, think about who you're talking to. And this will give you an idea of sort of how to express it. Sometimes it's easier to write to a particular person. So your ethical will might start off, dear children, or it might start off, dear grandfather. You can write to people who are no longer among us also. Sometimes it's easier to write to a particular person, and if you're writing to children, remember, stories about your life and about their lives will be especially meaningful. You might want to make a list of things you'd like to include and start a scratch pad of ideas, things that you value and why you value them, and the story that goes with it. What pitfalls you wish others to avoid, you want to put that in there too. What things you will miss if they are absent or if you are absent. The thing not to include is whining and blaming. This should be your story about who you are and not about how bad someone else is or how badly you were treated, unless there's a really good lesson to be learned here. These words are something you want to have remembered, so please don't leave poison. After you've decided whom to address and made a list of things to include, I'd suggest that you take the blank sheet of paper or the blank document on your computer and start writing. As you write, other things will come to you, so add them to your list. But start by starting the conversation with that person or persons that you are addressing. Refer to the list as needed, so as to avoid leaving something out. You'll probably rearrange the letter several times and add other thoughts, so permit yourself lots of flexibility. In fact, there was one set of letters in here that a mother wrote to her 2 children, and she wrote them each an individual letter. And, there's just any way you want to set it up. In closing, I want to read to you the words of Polonius to his son Laertes in Shakespeare's play Hamlet. Polonius is saying goodbye to Laertes, who's going away to university. This is a big milestone. And what he says, and I think you've heard this before, give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censure, but reserve thy judgment. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for a loan oft loses both itself and friend. This above all to thine own self be true, and it must follow as night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. Thank you.
Please stand if you're willing and able for hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
Our closing words are an expression of our values as Unitarian Universalists. They're found in the first of the hymnal, and we frequently see them up here on Sunday mornings. We, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all, and respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. These are many of our values. Go in peace. Namaste. Blessed be.